Fresh from Oregon is our ongoing series celebrating all the delicious agriculture and products in our state. And today we're talking beef. We've got Chef Leif Benson here. And Leif, we love having you on the show. You've been here a few times cooking stuff up for us. So what are you cooking today?
Well,
nice to see you. Nice
Perfect.
to see you.
Crazy. Well, we're doing some beef today because what's for beef? No, what's for dinner is for beef. Anyway, so we're doing a cold seared steak. So it's completely opposite of a normal steak where you normally it's a screaming hot pan, cast iron pans, oil and so on. You put it in, you leave it alone, don't touch it and so on. This is going to be the opposite. We're just going to start with a cold pan and just take the steak, and we're not going to. All we're going to do is get some pepper on it, because you can do salt on it, but you want to do salt early because salt draws out the moisture in the steak, and you don't want that. So you see it. So just a little bit of sizzle.
Yeah.
So now we're going to do, we're just going to leave it alone, but we're going to move it like every minute or so and turn it over and so on. Let's get some pepper on the other side. But anyway, so it's opposite. So what you're going to get is the same results as a regular hot, high temperature steak, but without the mess of the oil and it's just a better technique.
Yes,
basically.
I love that because of course you got oil flying everywhere and smoke and everything.
So and most chefs will tell you just to leave it alone in the pan. In this case, we're going to turn it over. Now, when we turn it over, it's just going to be gray type thing, which is not the steak color you want, like that. So it's great. So what we're going to do, we're going to slowly build a crust on it by turning it back and forth type thing. And what we're doing is we're taking the heat from the surface at a lower level and bringing it through the beef. So we're cooking it to the middle without that gray band around it. That makes it more well done. It's going to be perfectly cooked both sides type
Okay,
thing.
I love it. I'm going to try this technique this weekend.
So we're just going to play with it.
Okay. While that's cooking, tell us about your role and history with the Oregon Beef Council and how important the council is to the families and the ranchers who work the cattle in the land.
Definitely. Well, you know, beef is the second highest valued crop in Oregon. All 36 counties have beef to some point, mostly in the eastern Oregon and southern Oregon, so it's a very big deal type of thing. But the council basically promotes beef and the ranchers and so on. And Will Weiss is the CEO for that, and he helps the ranchers make sure everything's all good and regulatory things aren't. But it's a big deal, important thing for ODA.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, let's talk about the product itself. I think it's tasty, delicious, but it's also good for you. Tell us more about that.
Well, you know, it's really like a superfood. You know, high protein, amino acids. The proteins for your muscles and your bones. You know, it gives you energy and so on. Amino acids and minerals. Has a lot of really good aspects to it. You know, it should be a normal part of your diet. You know, and usually the portion is about 3.5 ounces. You know, several times a week, a couple times a week is good.
Yeah. How's it coming over there?
Well, we can just keep turning it again. See, now we're gray again on this side.
Yeah.
But you can see a slight bit of browning. And I'm just going to turn it down a little bit, like so. And now we're just going to kind of go medium. So this is an 1.5 inch thick steak. This is a good sized steak.
Yes.
And it's a strip loin.
Okay.
But any steak will do. But you want to have some thickness to it. So 1.5 inches is about right.
Okay.
And one thing really important is that you want to use a probe thermometer to check the internal temperature. And you want to come in from the side like this and just go in about halfway. And then, you know, if you wanted medium rare, 125 degrees, 130 degrees, somewhere in that range for medium rare.
Okay.
But again, probe thermometer is your best friend for cooking the best steak.
I love this. I feel like I'm learning a lot today. So you mentioned that beef is Oregon's #2 commodity. Is that right?
Commodity,
yeah.
yep.
Tell us more about that.
Well, yeah. So so the economic impact of Oregon is a really huge type of thing. And unless you live in the eastern part of Oregon or the southern part, we don't see a lot of ranches in the valley here because mostly it's there. But again, all 36 counties do raise beef, so it's a really big deal and really important part of Oregon's economy.
Yeah. You brought a prepared steak because we only have about 5 minutes. I don't think we're gonna finish that off.
We're not going to finish off because it'll take about the same amount of time as traditional cooking. You just have better results.
Yes.
Type thing. So, and also, I'm using Maldon salt. Maldon's nice flaky salt and so on. So that's a really good one. So and beef loves salt. Love salt and pepper.
Okay,
so
you can go ahead and cut that. But tell us, you said not to use the salt right beforehand. You say salt afterward or well in advance?
Well in advance, so you get the marination aspects of it. But if you do it right off the bat before it's in the pan, it draws out moisture, and moisture is the enemy of browning. It's called the Maillard effect and gets that delicious browning effect and that crust that everybody wants on their steak. So you want that, you don't want to retard that. You want to make sure you get that. So don't do salt if you're going right away, but certainly early, fine, like an hour early, 2 hours early, that'd be totally fine.
Got it.
Anyway, so this is a strip loin type thing, and this is just really nice type thing. And we'll do a little piece here, and it's just a really nice technique and so on. This is like a medium rare. And there's a fork if you want
great.
that thing.
Heck yeah, I'm going to try it. What's your favorite cut of steak?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. This strip loin is an awesome type thing. Ribeyes are probably one of the most popular, a little bit more fat. Oh, speaking of fat, so also your steak cut will determine the fat content. So if you're worried about fat, there's plenty of lean cuts of beef in the marketplace. So you can choose wisely on as far as reducing fat if you want to.
Okay.
But fat is also flavor and also makes tenderness.
Okay.
So fat's our friend, moderation. But if you want to avoid it, there's plenty of ways of doing that.
Okay.
Beef.
Well, Leif, thank you for coming. I mean, this is the last of this year's series of Fresh from Oregon. It's been great to have you on, and you share so many recipes and techniques. So you can try Leif's delicious cold seared steak recipe. It's easy to make at home, perfect for the upcoming holidays. Just a simple steak cooked with care. Shows how easy it is to make a meal that feels special, definitely. And you can find all of our Fresh from Oregon series, all of Leif's cooking segments on our website, kgw.com/Fresh from Oregon. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Lacey.
I'm going to miss you, so come back soon.
I will, for sure. Yeah.